Hello everyone, in this video I'll be showing you the most OP Halsin build for patch 8 of Baldur's Gate 3. There's some cool new interactions here. I'm going to keep him a Moon Druid. I was working on a Star Druid build, but I think it's actually best to keep him as a Moon Druid because there's a new cool interaction. So, if you take 2 levels of the Bladesinging Wizard, we want to stay 10 levels because the Moon Druid gets a lot of benefits. We can go into Bladesinging, which gives us a +2 to our armor class, increased movement speed, and many other benefits. But what's even better than that is we can also then wild shape and keep those bonuses. So if you transform into the owl bear here, you can see our armor class base 14 armor class +1 from dexterity, which is based from this, but +2 from the Bladesong here, which is just above my head. So you can see there, +2 armor class from Bladesong. That's incredible because we can actually stack up and get some cool benefits out of this. What's more is you can also use the Bladesong to do your special abilities here. Sometimes it does disappear from your bar here, but you can also use the Bladesong climax. But yeah, this is cool and a different combination of the 2 classes. What also is nice about the wizard is it adds the ability to learn some spells from scrolls, and we have full spell casting, so we can learn Globe of Invulnerability, which is a really useful spell that can save a lot of runs. So we'll first be starting off as the Druid here. For cantrip, Shillelagh, really useful. Use it on a torch early game for some good melee damage, and Thorn Whip to pull closer enemies. Now for our ability scores, I'm going to go with 14 dexterity, 16 constitution, 16 wisdom, and 10 charisma. We don't have an intelligence stat very high because we can use the circle of intelligence. There is another helmet that gives you an extra wild shape charge, but I don't think you really need those extra wild shape charges because they replenish on short rest, so you don't have to worry too much about that. And at level 2, we get to pick our subclass, which we're going to keep him a Circle of the Moon. It just makes sense for Halsin. I wanted to mess around with the Circle of Stars Druid, but I've already posted a couple builds regarding the Circle of Stars that are very powerful, and I didn't want to rehash what I've done there. So we'll start with this Circle of the Moon here. We get Lunar Mend. We also can use our Wild Shape as a bonus action. We have the Wild Shape Bear, although Halsin has his own special bear form. Now for the spells, I would recommend always having Creator Destroy Water, because this can be used to find invisible targets, and we're not spell casting often. It is good to be able to set up and support your other team members. We also got Ice Knife here. Long Strider is a good buff. Thunder Wave, Healing Word. If there's other spells you prefer, you can also take those. Into level 3, we get some of the stronger spells here for crowd control. We can set up with a Spike Growth before we go into our Rage, or our Wild Shape. And Hold Person is also not a bad one too. So you can use either of those. At level 4, we get the Deep Breath and the Dire Raven forms. And then we also can take another cantrip here and prepare another spell, which I recommend either Hold Person or Moonbeam. And for the spell, an ability score improvement's nice to give ourselves some more spell casting, but the thing is, Wild Shape does remove a lot of the benefits that we get from stat increases. So something like Alert, it's rolled at the start of combat, so this doesn't change when we go into our Wild Shape. Alert's probably the best feat for a Druid. At level 5, we get a Wild Strike, so you can make an additional unarmed attack while in your Wild Shape. Then we also get a bunch more spells here that we can select. So Call Lightning is not a bad one. Sleet Storm just upset concentrations, and even Plant Growth, because this does not require concentration. And it's crowd control, which is really good to have. Level 6, we get the subclass feature. We overcome resistances and immunity to non-magical damage. So this is just good, increases our overall damage. We also get access to the Panther and the Owl Bear form, which is a pretty powerful form at level 6. We'll take Sleet Storm there because the disrupting concentrations is very useful. Level 7, we get some more great spells. The Woodland Being. This allows us to use our Spike Growth. It can hold the concentration for us. And we can also get Grasping Vine, the Minor Elementals, Wall of Fire is not a bad one, and Confusion too, but it's your choice there if there's spells you prefer. At level 8, Saber-Tooth Tiger, and then now we can add in the Confusion or Ice Storm spell. Ice Storm's really useful because it creates difficult terrain for enemies, and it doesn't require concentration, so we can pop that down. Now for our next feat. Now another cool thing is Tavern Brawler actually will work with our Wild Shape forms, so this will double the strength modifier to unarmed attacks, and all Wild Shape attacks count as unarmed except for the Myrmidons, but the Earth Myrmidon also counts as unarmed, so we can take that. Warcaster to hold concentration better is nice while we're in our Wild Shape, but I think Tavern Brawler just makes the most sense here for the better damage that we'll be getting for our Wild Shape charge, or Wild Shape abilities. At level 9 here, we get access to level 5 spells. Insect Plague is one of the best choices we can go with for a spell here, because this is a concentration that ends up pretty much locking down a specific area, so that can be really good. And then we can also go with a spell like the Major Elemental here. But at level 10, this is when we get our best feature. So we get the improved Wild Shape. You can make 2 additional attacks, And we get access to air Myrmidon, the earth, fire, and water Myrmidon. These use 2 wild shape charges, but they're very powerful forms. The air Myrmidon can actually stun targets with its electrified flail, so you can stun 3 targets, and if a target's stunned, they lose their turn, which is really good. And then for our prepared spells, we'll go with something like this. You can even just add back the ice knife there for if you're unable to, let's say you're silenced. Level 10, it'd be nice to get our level spells there, but we're going to go with the wizard, and then we're going to add in, you can take really anything for canters. Booming Blade can be used with your staff. Bone Chill's really good. Utility, Ray of Frost. And for the spells here, I would recommend Mage Armor is not bad if you want to use clothing when you're not wild shaped, but Shield is such a useful spell to have, so we're going to take that. Then we also got like Chromatic Orb, Magic Missile. I guess Mage Armor can be a decent choice. Find Familiar, and False Life's an option. You can only prepare 1 spell at this moment, but whenever we go to look at our actual character, we got a lot more options. As once we have the Intelligence Circlet, we can prepare 4 of them. Or 5 now. We get the Bladesinging Wizard, though. This is, again, super useful because we can get those benefits from Bladesinging in our wild shape. And then for our Bladesinging weapon, again, personal preference here, whatever you want. It's not going to make a massive difference. And for our learned spells, Grease, I guess, and Burning Hands, or Sleep, Tasha's He's Laughter. We don't really use those, so that's fine. But the biggest thing here is there's a bit of synergy from that Bladesong. Protection, increasing our armor class. Now for gear, I got the Warped Headband and Intellect there. Gives us our intelligence score to 17. We also got the Cloak of Absorption, so you can absorb a spell and deal additional on your next attack. The Armor of Moon Basking, this is the Moon Druid's armor. Gives you 11 armor class, which is not high, but whenever you wild shape, you get 22 temporary health. And when those temporary health are active, it reduces all incoming damage by 1. We also get a +2 to armor class while we're wild shaped, and advantage on saving throws against spells, which is really good. Also, the Wondrous Gloves there to boost up our armor class while we're in our caster form. And I got the Disintegrating Nightwalkers. If you need to get away quickly, you can use Misty Step to teleport away. Amulet of Greater Health, although you can really add whatever amulet. I just put that on there to show the maximum power of this. Then we also got Killer Sweetheart and Crusher's Ring for the extra movement speed. Hellrider Longbow is like one of the few pieces of gear that actually persists in the wild shape because, again, initiatives rolled at the start of combat. And the Staff of Spell Power right here to do one specific thing. So what we can do is before we get into combat, we can use our Arcane Battery and use this to summon in the Water Myrmidon, Fire Myrmidon, Earth, or Air Myrmidon. I'm going to go with the Air Myrmidon here. It's really strong. It can stun targets. So then what we can also do is take this out and swap her around for Marka Heshker, who also gets the Arcane Battery. And then you can use that for Minor Elementals or the Woodland Being. Now, the cool thing about Woodland Being is it's a summon with a summon, because it heard you like summons. So you get the Fallen Lover there, which can entangle targets, and then she can do Spike Growth. So it's nice to have both of these here for just the extra crowd control they bring. And then we can also cast in the Minor Elementals, the Ice Methods here, which are pretty nice to have. They absorb a bit of aggro. They're only 22 health, so they explode and die often, but it's something. And then we're going to switch back and put on a blade, because we need to be able to use that we need to have a blade equipped to be able to go into our form there. So for weapons, what's nice too is if you get the Cold Snap, you can also Bladesing with this weapon in your offhand, and it gives you a +1 when it's in your offhand. And when a creature misses with an attack, you can do it can chill the target, which means they take double cold damage. So that's not a bad thing to have in the offhand. And then we got in the main hand the Knife Thunder Mountain King. We're not going to be using these often. This does give you advantage on attack rolls when lightly obscured, which is going to be often. So if you do need a melee attack, you're going to have a better choice. It means we can't use Shillelagh, but you have to use that or Bladesong. So this was the +2 to armor class, increased movement speed, advantage in acrobatics, and +2 constitution saving throws. So it's not too bad, all things considered. And to top it all off, we can then go ahead and learn spells from scrolls like Lightning Bolt there. You can get Misty Step if you wanted to already learn that spell, but anything that you don't have, you can learn. That's really cool, because even if it's a level 6 spell, you want Odaluk's Freezing Sphere, you want Chain Lightning, consider it done. You can do that. Circle of Death, learn it. Fireball, learned it. And then what we can do is go to our Wizard tab here, and then just select all these spells as prepared spells. So that at least gives us some more options when it comes to combat, and things like Grease are not bad to have as well. So we rolled a really good initiative there. Getting the Hellrider Longbow plus Alert means we always basically go first, and that's great because we got crowd control with Insect Plague, so I'd recommend popping one of these down first. So always set up your crowd control first. That's one of the beautiful things about playing as a druid is you get such great crowd control options. So we set up our insect flag, and then we can also go into Bladesong, which will give us a nice bonus +2 to our constitution saving throws. If we went Star Druid, this further enhances it, but I have a different build on that. So that gives us, again, better armor class, and then we can use our bonus action to wild shape. Now, we got a lot of options here. I'm going to go with the Earth Myrmidon because we want Tavern Brawler to give us that big boost to its damage. And then with the Earth Myrmidon here, we got like the Sludgy Sling there, the Muck to Metal, which will increase armor class by 2, but reduce our movement speed by 6 meters, which is fine because we can actually get a pretty decent armor class. We got 24 there, so we're hasted, so that gives us a +2, Lunar Protection +2, and +2 from the Bladesong. You can see right above my head there. So that actually makes us pretty tanky at 24 armor class, and then that's further enhanced by 2 if we use this ability here. So the Transmuted to Steel, if you use that, it gets the armor class up to 26. That's pretty good armor class, all things considered. You also have the Grounded Thunder Strike, which can knock targets prone, which is pretty useful to have, so we can just go ahead there and hit with that. Bonk, pure thunder damage saved. And then what's nice is we got 3 attacks. So bonk, took them out. And then there's one more on our Edge of Darkness here. Oh, I hit myself with my insect flag and broke the concentration. Lovely, don't do that. But yeah, you can see there, it's pretty beefy. Since we're tanking, we lost our crowd control. I'll just put myself out in the front line there. And the Air Myrmidon is also quite useful. One of the biggest things is they got invisibility, but the Elemental Warp. A lot of people don't realize this, but one of the nicest features is they get to free teleport there, use their bonus action, and then you can get in and use the Electrified Flail, which can possibly stun the target. And that's really good. We stun them, so they lost their turn. That's a spellcaster. So that's what makes the Myrmidon transformation so useful. As you can see there, they skip their turn from the stun. And whenever we get our Ice Methods in position, you can use their Ice Breath or the Chromatic Orb with a 20% hit chance. They don't hit things often, but you can explode them, and that's pretty much what they're best used for, because then it makes difficult terrain and does a little bit of damage. Not high damage, but the being able to set up ice patches on command is very nice to have. And then with our Woodwode, it can also run around and then entangle targets, so we can pop him into a position where he's able to use the entangle there, and then lock down a pretty large group, and that's also quite nice to have. So great crowd control on this class. And if that was enough, we also have our Woodwode here, which can then do a concentration on spike growth, which we can pop down, making even more difficult terrain, and it does damage over time too, so pretty good. And back to us for some more damage. We also got the Burrow, which should let the underground swallow you up, only for you to re-emerge in a terrific burst of damage. So that's another option that you got for damage, but I think it's probably best to go around. You can use the Sludgy Sling as well, which makes the area thick mud, but we have so much crowd control, we don't really need that often. So just going with the Grounded Thunder Strike is really good, because you can see there, the damage from that is pretty solid. Boom, 2 of them, 22 and 13, it's dead. And then we can chase down. I got entangled, unfortunately. Myrmidon sometimes don't get bothered by that, but yeah, we got hit with it. But then, I guess we can't even, we can Misty Step, perfect, and then use a bonk attack like that. So yeah, that works. And I guess we can also, since we're hasted, we got the Sludgy Sling as well, which we can then just hit the ground with, boom. So that's an option. Wouldn't fully recommend doing it often though. And let's see if we can go 2 for 2 with the stun. Bonk. Not enough, but we damaged them. They have 2 health left. That's sweet. And the Woodwode can actually do some decent damage there if it lands a critical hit. Also, the Earth Myrmidon has a really cool picture. Just want to highlight that. But we want to use our Grounded Thunder Strike here. We're getting kind of overwhelmed by people, so we'll try to first take out these targets here. Critical hit. That was enough to take them out. He has a pretty cool attack animation too. I love that, like, grabbing, punchy type attack. It's pretty cool. And we do need to go save our teammates here. So the beauty thing about this is we can just go, hello, you ladies need some help, and then we can go bonk them. So yeah, that's one of the biggest benefits of the Druid, the wild shape Myrmidons in particular, is they can go around and teleport, giving them incredible range and pretty decent damage. There we go, we finally got a prone. And then we can turn the Muck to Metal here, boosting our armor class again. Yeah, the 26 AC is pretty crazy. So, and with your Air Myrmidon summon, you should always be using it to go after any type of caster and try to stun them. If anyone's got counterspell, nice, we lock down the stun there. This target can counterspell, it can drop commands, so we wanted them taken out of the equation quickly. And the beautiful thing about the Myrmidon is it's actually immune to command, so you don't have to worry about that yourself. The rest of your team does. And back to our turn here. So we're just going to try and stop these targets that are messing with the teammates here. So that's one taken down. I actually love the attack animation for this. It's kind of like a hugging attack, but yeah, you can knock them prone and then you get advantage on attacks. Boom, took them out. And there's someone over here that we got to go deal with. So we'll just basically teleport our way over there and then go with another big bonk. All right, let's see if we can get the stun roulette to go. Boom. It didn't hit, but that was still a good amount of damage. And pretty much with the Myrmidon, you just want to run around basically hitting as many people as you possibly can. Getting 3 attacks per action is huge, especially if you got someone to haste your character, because then you can do this all day. So yeah, that is an OP Halsin build for patch 8. The Bladesinging Wizard gives you those bonuses. We've unfortunately broke our concentration real early on, but it can hold concentrations better with that bonus. And then it also has the Bladesong climax, so you can use to heal your teammates. Yeah, it's got a lot of cool little synergies. You can also learn Global Invulnerability to keep your team safe. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hit the subscribe button below if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in the next video.